What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with Henry Wilson. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Game Day Playbook Show. We got a 7-game main slate we're talking about today. Henry, you were on the playbook, my guy. We're coming off of another really good night and hopefully keeping the success here running.
Yeah, man, we're on a good stretch. It's not going to continue forever. This is baseball. Like, we're going to have our cold streaks, but we're doing great right now. Right. So this is awesome, and we'll hopefully keep it going today.
Just posted your playbook in the chat there, so those of you who are lurking, you can check that out. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Do so. It is a free way to support what we're doing here on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube channel. You can also hit that subscribe button so you never miss a live show or anything that we do here on the Fantasy Alarm channel. Taking a look at today's slate here, obviously there's some interesting matchups that we're going to be looking to take advantage of here. Fortunately, looks like weather is going to be on our side. No games expected to be impacted by that, which is good. I live out in Boston. We're getting a lot of rain here today, so no games in Massachusetts, so we don't have to worry about any of that. Our guy Justin popping in chat on time today, Justin. No worries about missing today's show, so that's good. What's some of the topics you were looking at when you did the playbook? Like, what was the one notable matchup that you were looking to target here today?
The notable matchup for me is probably that White Sox-Minnesota game, just because you have that matchup of Joe Ryan and Garrett Crochet, who both have high strikeout upside. Obviously, the White Sox are terrible, so Crochet's not going to get you a win. But as far as all of the interesting matchups goes, I feel like that game is the one that's highlighted the most. I think the other interesting thing about today is just how much I do not like any of the cheap pitchers.
Sure. Yeah, the last couple of days we've had the benefit of some of the value pitchers. Yesterday, value pitchers, not so much. Dane Dunning had the strikeouts. We gave up 4 runs. We had Michael King start off really strong, end up getting hit. I mean, even Pablo Lopez yesterday ended up getting knocked around there. Eloy Jimenez doing the damage against him. And maybe that's what happens to Joe Ryan here today. Let's just jump into pitching. Joe Ryan is your top price guy. He's 10,400. He's got this matchup against the White Sox. We talked extensively about the White Sox offensive woes, but Eloy Jimenez, when healthy, can be a bat that does knock a pitcher out of a game here. Does he do it 2 days in a row? I'm skeptical of that. So maybe Joe Ryan can continue his strong outings here. Had 12 strikeouts a game already this year against Detroit. Where are you? Are you spending up for Joe Ryan here today?
Yeah, I'm totally willing to spend up for Joe Ryan. I know it's a super high price tag, like $10,400 is a lot for a pitcher, but Joe Ryan is awesome. He's been great so far this year, and it's not just this year. Last year, he had a over 29% strikeout rate. This guy just goes out, he gets strikeouts. He's got such a good win potential going against the White Sox. So I think he has one of the top win potentials and top strikeout potentials of anybody on the slate today. So I know it costs a lot, but I'm absolutely willing to spend the money to take Joe Ryan because I think he's just far and away the best pitcher on today's slate.
Yeah, you mentioned obviously the guy that he's going up against here in Garrett Crochet, coming off of 2 really bad outings, and maybe that keeps some of the rostership down on him. But if you're looking at Crochet here and then looking at the matchup, Minnesota 25% strikeout rate against lefties. A lot of the bats that we've played in the Minnesota lineup are from the left side. Kiranov, Julian, Large, Kepler, so that's kind of the top 5 of their lineup there, all from the left side of the plate. So they may find themselves in a tough time. You can find maybe a combined strikeout prop. I know they have those on some of the pick'em sites. Maybe today, Joe Ryan, Garrett Crochet, combined strikeout prop could be the way to go.
Yeah, I like both of them for their strikeout props today. And yeah, Garrett Crochet, obviously, he's probably not going to get you a win with the White Sox, but he has 8 or more strikeouts in 3 of his 5 starts so far this season. And he's been a little shaky, but even one of the recent games they got beat up and only made it less than 5 innings, he still struck out 10 against the Reds. So he's gonna get strikeouts most likely. The question is just how much does he get hit around, and is there any chance he sneaks a win? I don't think so. But if you don't want to pay up for Joe Ryan, Garrett Crochet provides that crazy high strikeout upside. So yeah.
I want to get your thoughts here because sometimes I feel like Vegas, can maybe dictate or give a hint at maybe the way things are going. Reynaldo Lopez today, his outs is just 15.5 outs against the Miami Marlins.
Yeah, that seems odd to me for someone who's thrown 6 full innings in
Well,
every start so far.
and the Braves have shut out. The Braves starters have tossed 16 shutout innings or 15 shutout innings almost against Miami in this series. Obviously, yesterday the complete game shutout from Fried and Elder. Before that, 6 2/3 shutout. Miami's offense bottom 3-4 in the league against right-handed pitching here. Lopez is only allowed 1 run on the year. I mean, I don't know what is. I don't know. I don't know what the glean from the Vegas outs prop here on Reynaldo Lopez.
Yeah, I think I probably wouldn't read too much into it unless for some reason there's information that we've missed. But yeah, he's gone 6 innings. He's got 5, 6, and 7 strikeouts in each of his 3 starts. Like, he's looking really good. And yeah, you want to talk about win potential. The Braves going up against the Marlins. Marlins are not scary, especially with Jake Berger out, who's one of the only power potentials really in that lineup.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't go another 6 today and pile up at least 6 strikeouts.
He needs 5 1/3 innings to go over, so he doesn't even need the 6, right? He just needs he needs to get 16 outs. So again, I saw that number and I was a little bit like, huh. What is, sometimes Vegas is smarter than me usually. So
yeah, maybe there's something we don't know, but that sure seems weird.
Yeah, definitely seems weird. Let's see. Is it still at 15? Yeah, 50 and a half. It's minus 135 in the over, but still
yeah,
I don't know. It seems awfully low given the matchup, given what the Marlins have been and what Reynaldo Lopez has looked like to begin the year against Houston, New York. They're better lineups than the Mets. So but you have Clark Schmidt in your playbook here today. What are your thoughts on Clark Schmidt today?
Yeah, Clark Schmidt has been pitching really well. Interesting thing is DraftKings, last I checked, actually have his strikeout prop as the highest strikeout odds of anyone on the slate today, even above Joe Ryan and Garrett Crochet. I don't know if I agree with that, but again, he's going to get strikeouts. He's facing the Oakland A's, who are going to strike out a whole bunch. That also provides huge win potential. And so I really think that Clark Schmidt provides pretty good value. Again, his price is propped up because he's facing Oakland.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been pitching really well. He has 7 strikeouts in each of his last 2 outings and only given up 1 earned run. And he's gone at least 5 innings in both those starts as well. So again, in a really good matchup here against Oakland, I think he has a lot of value.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. Obviously, Oakland scored a couple of runs yesterday, but Schmidt off to a really great start. If he can keep the walks down, really just ballooned by 1 game, hurting the whip there. Everything else looks pretty good. I also like John Gray here today. Again, Bryce Miller's obviously been very good. We didn't talk about Miller, but he's got the Rangers lineup. Seattle's offense maybe slowly starting to come around. Seattle actually now leading the West too. I didn't think we'd see that given the way they started offensively here. Their pitching certainly carried them a bit, but John Gray at $8,300 against Atlanta. It was just his side session day, and they had used their bullpen up, so they just had him go out there and throw as an actual game as his side session there. Threw an inning and 2/3 against Atlanta and struck out 4. So obviously the side session went well. He's coming off of 2 really good starts against Oakland and Detroit. Strikeout numbers have been there. I think John Gray at 8,300 is kind of an interesting mid option today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, out of those top guys, I think John Gray obviously has that strikeout potential. 7 Ks might be pushing it. He could definitely get there. I think you can really count on him for 5 or 6 against Seattle, but we've seen the strikeout potential from him. Could he get 7, 8, 9 even? Absolutely. The win potential is a little less just because I do think the Mariners are starting to play better, and I really like Bryce Miller. Again, don't really love him for the DFS today just because the strikeout upside and having to face the Rangers and all that, don't love. But he's a good pitcher. Mariners are playing better. But no, other than the less win potential, I think John Gray has pretty good upside here.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there as well. And just kind of checking out where the money line is on this game between the Rangers and Seattle. If my computer, we get some rain. My internet's moving slowly because of it. We have minus 120 for the Rangers at home. It's plus 100 for the Mariners. So basically, close to even money in that matchup as it is. So anybody for value? You mentioned you didn't really care for a lot of the value on this slate. What's the lowest you go today?
Honestly, I think John Gray is the lowest I go. I normally have one cheap guy that I really want to go after, but I really don't like anything. I think every lineup I have is going to be John Gray and above. I could see going for Arrighetti. Like I get that he is like thrown decently and like he's so cheap that maybe you could see some upside there.
Yeah, no Bellinger in that lineup today for the Cubs. He's on the IL now, so be a little bit of a weaker potential lineup for him there.
But I again, if you really want to try to save money and build a different kind of lineup without those top pitchers, sure, you could take a chance there. I personally don't think I want to do it. I think I'm going to stick with those guys at John Gray and above.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. We have 3 starters where the money line, it's over 200 in their favorite. Clark Schmidt, the Yankees, minus 240. Atlanta, minus 250. Joe Ryan, minus 205. So you can kind of really hammer in on those heavy favorites. You do have Matt Waldron and the Padres as minus 155 favorites. I don't know if you like the knuckleball dancing in Coors, but he's down there. Didn't really work out for us the last time against Toronto, but maybe if you're making multiple lineups and you believe, actually that line just moved to minus 160 now in favor of the Padres. So things are happening there. Let's go to catcher. Again, a position we like to spend down on. There are a couple of spend down options. Trump down here at $2,600. Could be a guy. He's handled the bat relatively well of late, getting at the bottom of the Braves lineup. The Marlins going with an opener approach here. Sixto Sanchez is going to pitch an inning or two, and then they're going to follow him up with the kid that they called up from the minors. So, maybe Trump fits as a punt play tonight.
Yeah, I mean, totally batting 8th in the Braves lineup. And yeah, who knows what's going to happen with the Miami pitching. Man, Sixto Sanchez, he was a guy I loved a couple years ago. Of like all those young Miami pitchers that were coming up, he was the one that I thought really was going to break out and be amazing. And that sure hasn't happened.
And injuries haven't helped him, obviously. And then he's been a bit inconsistent. He's been good out of their bullpen for the most part this year, and he's getting a chance to open here today. So again, I think Trump would probably just be a plug and play punt for me here tonight because he's actually shown the ability to handle the bat a little bit. Other than that, I mean, you have Campusano. I think we might have just gotten a Padres lineup out as well. Let me just confirm if it was Padres or Rockies that I saw. It was a Rockies lineup, actually. Okay.
Wow, not too bad.
Let's say, did we get a Padres lineup or not? But it doesn't look like we have one yet. So if Campusano's in the lineup, I know we've played a lot of him lately. Did have the RBI double last night, 2 doubles a game before that. So he's taking full advantage of the Coors Field matchup. Andy's got another lefty on the mound in Ty Black.
Yep. No, I'm probably going Campusano because, again, yeah, we've played him a lot recently, but lefty matchup and in Coors, I'm just going to keep going back there. And he's pretty much the only place I'm going if I'm not just going all the way down and taking like a Chadwick Trump.
Sure. Agree with you. First base here. Last night, Howard and I really were in on Matt Olson. That hasn't changed too much for me here, even with them going in the opener approach for Miami with Sixto and whomever it is that they're following it up with. But I liked your playbook calls. You got Vinny Pasquantino in there at $4,800 as well. What is it about Pasquantino you like in this matchup against Rodriguez?
Man, I just like everything about Vinny P. He's just such a good hitter, and this Royals offense continues to be good. And I don't really see the upside in Rodriguez today for Toronto. Like, I just don't believe in him that much as a pitcher yet. And so I like the Royals offense, and Vinny P just continues to produce. And I think he's going to be one of the best hitters in that lineup all season. I think this is, what we dreamt on last year before he got hurt. We're seeing it. Vinny P's awesome.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there 100%. You got him. You want to go down. You got Vlad against Marsh. We're not really big on Marsh here tonight. I know Vlad has been, for all the hype that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. had coming up through the league, and he had a first, a couple of good early years the last few seasons for him. I don't know what's kind of happened with him, but he's $4,600 against Marsh. Michael Busch gets the Arrighetti matchup at $45. You think the power is going to be there for him? And then Justin Turner at $4,200. They don't move his price. He keeps hitting in the middle of that lineup and is continuing to be productive.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think those are decent options. And I also wanted to mention, we push back past Matt Olson there, but he's 0 for 30 in his last little bit.
He's due is what you're saying.
No, I don't know if I want to buy with. I know you're in on him, but I kind of think maybe he's not due, and I'm worried there's something wrong with him. Like,
okay, I mean, there's been enough players hurt, so let's cross our fingers that isn't going to be the case here. So,
Again, maybe not. I love Matt Olson. I hope he bounces back, but I'm probably
Sure.
going to avoid until I see something from him.
Okay. If we go down into the mid and value tiers, any names standing out for you?
Yeah, I like Nate Lowe.
Sure.
Yeah, I think he's back in that lineup. He's been in there, I think 3 games now is all he's got. But yeah, 2 hits and a double in his last one. He had 2 hits the day before that. I think he's just a really productive hitter. He's not like super flashy because he's like a 20 home run guy and he doesn't have any speed, but like he's going to be batting right in the middle of the Rangers lineup. And even though I'm a fan of Bryce Miller, the Rangers lineup's so good. And I think for the price that Nate Lowe comes at, the odds that he doesn't give you pretty good value seem pretty low.
Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely underpriced right now because he is coming off that injury, but he hits, like 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there, usually in that lineup, depending on who's on the mound. So, yeah, no arguments with me here. The highest projected roster first baseman today is Anthony Rizzo. He hit homer the other day. He's got a couple of hits, got Boyle on the mound, lefty in Yankee Stadium, probably driving some of that. And the price tag isn't hurting as well.
Yeah, I like a Yankees stack today. Don't think that Joe Boyle or whatever else is going to be coming out of the Oakland bullpen is going to be that trustworthy. So I can totally see, paying down to get Rizzo in the 5 hole in a Yankees stack.
Sure. Second base is going to be interesting. I don't know if you've looked at some of the updated ownership or not, but at least as of currently, the highest rostered second baseman is $2,300 Kyle Farmer. The man is 0.73 on the year, facing an elite strikeout pitcher in Garrett Crochet, but he is 16% rostered here today. So, what about Kyle Farmer? Do you think they're just like, you know what, second base sucks today? I'm just going to go and spend as far down as I possibly can and move on?
Yeah, I guess so, but I'm sure not going to do it. I think Kyle Farmer last year, I tried a bunch of times to okay, he's a bit of a lefty killer. I'm going to pay down and take Kyle Farmer against the lefty. And I'm pretty sure every single time I did it, he went over. He never did absolutely anything for me. So maybe I'm a little biased and putting too much weight on that, the fact that he just never delivered. But I pretty much vowed that I'm done playing Kyle Farmer. So no.
I don't hate the vow. I was as stunned when I was clicking through. I'm like, wait a minute, what? Everybody's playing a guy that has 3 hits on the year? What are we doing here? So he's your value, and he's where the field is going. Up at the top, you had Altuve, Semien. You got Xander versus a lefty in Coors. I mean, if you had to target some top second baseman today, who you liking?
Honestly, I'm probably going to go after Nico Horner. I know we talked about him a bit yesterday, and he did go 0-for-5 yesterday. And yeah, I don't love that Bellinger's going to be out of that lineup now, but again, he's been hitting super well. Again, no home runs, only 1 steal so far, kind of sucks, but he has been awesome in his last 10 games after a really slow start. So I really like that he's back in the top of the lineup also. And so I think he's going to continue to provide some good value up there. I really think he's someone that can bounce back, and all of a sudden we see that he's like a $5,000 second days because he can be that good of a hitter. So yeah, I'm back in on Nico Horner.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine going there as well. And then obviously I like Kevin Biggio if he's in there at $3,100. And I don't like much of Marsh. I have a little 2-man stack with Toronto. One's Kevin Biggio, one's a man you've been high on lately, and we'll talk about it in a few positions here. But I didn't really go much else. I kind of was with you with Horner. Again, I like Kevin Biggio. If you're not in on Boyle, obviously, or if you like the Yankees rather, Gleiber at 41 is a decent price tag there, but not much else really, jumping off the page to me here when it comes to the second base position.
Yeah, same. I also like Biggio. I like the Blue Jays stacking against Marsh today with both that lefty and the lefty that we'll talk about at outfield again. But I think I'm pretty much living Nico or Biggio, or if you're going to Yankee stack, maybe Torres. But that's about it for me.
Sure. Moving on over then to third base. Austin Riley is your top price third baseman here for the day. If you're talking ownership numbers here, which getting some updated ownership for everybody, he's right there. Almost 10% is actually the highest rostered third baseman here today. Number 2 is another way spend down, Yugi Rosario. A lot of people assuming he's in the lineup today with the lefty over Tyler Wade. Manny Machado is still out. So if you wanted some Coors exposure there, Rosario at 3,100 is your second highest rostered third baseman.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that Austin Riley's ownership is that high because even though he's expensive, like if you want to be paying up at all, what are your other options here with like
Right.
Machado out? Sure, you could go McMahon, but he has been kind of in and out, as far as how well he's hitting, and he's going against the knuckleballer.
Right.
Michael Garcia is still way too high priced. Bregman's been underperforming. Like, if you want to get a decent third baseman in, you pretty much have to go with Austin Riley. Like, it's either that or you are spending down. Those are your options.
Yeah, no, 100% in agreement with you. So again, will be interesting to see sort of where how this all ends up playing itself out here today at the position. Orlando Cabrera is hitting 8th tonight, but again, if you're not in there, Morel in the mid tier at $4,300. You mentioned Rosario down there at 31. Jose Miranda is hitting cleanup. I don't really care much for that against Crochet, but he's $3,000. Denny Mendex, he's been good in the 2 games he's been called up. Howard's been making jokes about him, but 2 hits in both games. Maybe he continues that run against Joe Ryan. And then obviously Kyle Farmer's got the dual position eligibility. But I don't know. Do you care much for Rosario here? Would you give him a look?
Yeah, I mean, I would, just because if he's going to be in that lineup, you're talking in Coors against Ty Black. Like, I think the Padres could be a pretty good stack. So just the fact of how ugly third base is also, and the options are so limited, get yourself a piece of Coors Field if he is, has himself in that lineup. I don't hate that.
Sure.
I think one other guy I'll highlight that I don't hate if he is going to be in the lineup also is Josh Rojas. Obviously, we both talked a little bit of John Gray, too, against the Mariners. But Mariners' offense is picking up a little bit, and Josh Rojas has been hitting pretty well. So he comes in super cheap, and you have the lefty-righty matchup, and Gray isn't going to, shut down anyone. So he could, maybe do something here today.
Sure.
Yeah.
Going on over to shortstop here today, where do you find yourself looking to go?
I'm diving right back into Ha-Seong Kim today of being my number one favorite shortstop. Again, even if you aren't stacking Padres, I think just getting him against a lefty in Coors Field and he's still not crazy expensive. It's just really hard to not go there, but it's also tough because I think shortstop's one of the deepest positions of guys that I really like that you could go after. So it's some tough decisions, but I think Ha-Seong Kim just provides a whole lot of value.
Yeah, again, getting Coors Field, the price is there. Historically good against lefties, so won't fight you too much there. Volpe is right there, at $4,800. Tovar's been one of the few consistently good Rockies, so if you did want to get a guy to come back in that matchup, for Tovar, I guess would probably be your guy there. Mid-tier options, again, I like Pena at 4K. And then after that, again, there's not really any value here. Our guy Mason Wynn played this afternoon, so don't have the option of picking him here today.
Yeah, probably don't want to go super low, but again, you can, considering the values you can get around that 4,000 area of if you want to, you need to go like Arcia, Pena, even JB Crawford if you are in on the Mariners a little bit. I'm okay living around there for going cheap on shortstop, but I think there's just too many good shortstop options to want to punt in that position and go way down price range.
I agree. At the outfield position, we talk about this a lot. There's obviously many spend up potential plays for you here today. You kind of just pick your favorite and move along. There's Tatis and Coors, Acuna against the Marlins bullpen game. Soto and Judge get Boyle. Ozuna again, also with Miami. So pick and choose however you want to go and build with your top guys. They're all fine. I like Michael Harris in the mid tier today at 4,600. He's hitting second for Atlanta. What are you looking at when it comes to the top half of the outfield?
I'm going to highlight another Mariner here. I like Julio Rodriguez.
Sure.
I think that he's obviously been off to a really slow start for the year, but he was off to a slow start last year also, and then ended up having an incredible season. And he's really kind of turned things around lately. He's on a 7-game hitting streak, and he has 5 multi-hit games in those 7 games. And he hit his first home run yesterday. Yeah. So, and we've seen when he starts homering, he's homering like every other at bat, it seems sometimes in stretches. So he looks hot, and 5,000, that's pretty cheap for a star like Julio Rodriguez.
A guy that started the year as a 6K outfielder on DraftKings all the way down to 5K. So you're definitely getting some value if you're not in on John Gray for sure there. Stanton's obviously been surprisingly okay from a power standpoint. Again, Boyle could obviously, give those up. If you're not in on Rodriguez, you have Melendez at 45. But let's just talk about him. Let's just go down and talk about Dalton Varsho. He's been your guy the last couple of nights here, and he's on the cover of your playbook again today.
Yeah, I mean, he just keeps delivering. So I'm not going to shy away from it when I already like the Blue Jays as a stack in the lineup against Alec Marsh today. And you talk about Dalton Varsho will only be $3,500. I said in the playbook, it's not just that he's a cheap part of this Blue Jays option. He's been the best part of this Blue Jays lineup. Like, he's leading the Blue Jays in homers, runs, RBIs, slugging. Like most offensive categories, Dalton Varsho is at the top. So, yeah, it's really hard to see all that and not pay the $3,500 in what's another good matchup for him.
Agreed. Also just speaks to sort of how frustrating the Blue Jays have been because they have, Bichette and Vlad and all those guys, and Varsho's their leader, but we'll take the leader while we can at a cheap price tag. Yeah. So, for sure. Where else are you looking at the outfield today?
The outfield, usually I feel like there's a lot more options that I really like around this like middle and cheap end, but I really didn't love a whole lot that was going on again. And I don't want to go against like back to Eloy Jimenez, even though he hit a home run like against Joe Ryan. That doesn't interest me. Yeah. I don't hate Alex Verdugo. Like I said, I'm kind of in on a Yankee stack, and he's a pretty cheap piece of that, batting 7th. If you want to, throw him in with like middle of the lineup stack of the Yankees.
Yeah.
But beyond that, there's not a whole lot I like at the cheap end of outfield today.
Sure. I'll throw Profar out there at 4K. I think there's some potential for him with the lefty on the mound. They put in Canario here with Bellinger out the other day, or getting hurt yesterday, but they also called up Pete Crow Armstrong today. So I don't know if he would even be with the team and available today or not, but was he even in the player pool? He's 2,500. If Pete Crow Armstrong is active, would you give him a look today?
Yeah, I think I would. If they're actually going to start him, I think Pete Crow Armstrong is a legit hitter. I was kind of surprised that they like blocked him this year. Like I thought he was gonna be in the majors kind of to start the season. Yeah. But now with some injuries, he's gonna get a chance to actually be up. He hasn't been hitting so well in the minors though to start the year. I mean, he's got 2 homers and 5 steals, but batting 203, a 633 OPS isn't great. So I don't know. Maybe it's not super intriguing, but it's 2,500 also. So you never know what he might do.
Number 18 prospect in baseball coming into the year. So, I mean, like, there's definitely talent to be had there. You had a cup of coffee with the team last year. Sadly, went 0 for 14. Not what you're necessarily looking to see. But he is a guy that brings some speed. Has a little bit of power, obviously, as well, if you look at his minor league numbers. So maybe a second go around gets him a little bit used to that situation for them there. So, and you have Kelenic down here with the righties for Miami. He's $3,200 as well. So, all right, let's get a lineup build. I'm just going to plug in your Varsho play here. What else do you want to start things off with here?
Ooh, man. Yeah. Got to go Varsho. I guess. I guess let's figure out the pitchers first, I guess, because we can go a couple different ways with the lineup. So I think
we go Joe Ryan here, or
I think my top guys are obviously Joe Ryan, Reynaldo Lopez, Clark Schmidt. I think those 3 just all have the strikeout and win potential. So I'm really fine with any direction there. If you want to, try to save a little money and not go Joe Ryan, but
let's do that. Let's get Trump in at 26.
Just like that.
Play. And then we got 4,300 to go.
Gonna have to save a little money somewhere.
Maybe
we throw Biggio in with Varsho.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Kevin Biggio at 31 gets us 4,500 to play.
Perfect. I mean, I love Ha-Seong Kim at short today.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm fine with some other options too, but he's far and away my
Kim at short works. Let's go J-Rod because I do like that price on him as well.
Absolutely.
And then you mentioned Rojas. I don't think they're going to hit near each other, but if it wasn't like Riley at this position, right? Like we didn't really care for a lot of third.
No, exactly. If you're not going Riley, you're just throwing a dart somewhere. So maybe since we already have a Mariner, throw the dart at Rojas.
And then Let's see.
Yeah, sitting at 5,000. So we can spend up here or spend up on outfield and go with a cheaper first base option.
I plugged in Turner, and then we can just do a one-off Tatis maybe here.
Ooh, yeah. I don't.
Actually, not even a one-off. We have
him.
So,
yeah. So
there you go. We got a one-off with Trump as our catcher. We got 3 Toronto, Turner, Biggio, and Varsho. Those guys probably hit right next to each other in the lineup.
Yeah.
Rojas and Rodriguez, maybe there's a wraparound stack there. Rojas maybe hitting 8 or 9, and Rodriguez at the top of that lineup. And then we got Lopez and Schmidt, and no money left over. 2 pitchers with minus 250 odds to win the game. So can't be too upset with today's example lineup, everybody. Any comments or questions, you can feel free to throw them in the chat here, or go find us in the Fantasy Alarm Discord. If you're not already giving us a follow on Twitter, I'm Impemba777. Give our guy Henry a follow as well, at Henry13, Wilson13 over on X or Twitter, however you want to call it. He puts out his strikeout props out there as well. Always a book of knowledge. So give him a follow if you're not already doing so. Any final thoughts here, Henry?
No, I like this a lot. I think we've got a lot of those little stacks of teams that I like today. And yeah, 2 great pitchers. But yeah, I think you can go a lot of different ways here. If you want to get Joe Ryan in, definitely some, cheaper options you can go. But I think this is a good start, and hopefully we'll win some more today.
Yep. As Julian says here, let's get this loot tonight. Amen to that. And we will leave on that note for everybody. Good luck with your lineup builds. Again, find us on Twitter. Find us in the Discord. Good luck with your lineup builds here tonight, and we'll catch you all later.